Gqeberha could be the first major city in the world to run out of water, and this comes a few years after the city of Cape Town successfully staved off its water crisis. We visited the town, recently renamed from Port Elizabeth, to see where they went wrong. The real problem is obviously a nationwide drought, but considering that Cape Town averted this disaster, we should look at the city's politics. Cape Town has been governed by the political opposition DA since 2004. The first DA mayor was even voted as the world's best mayor. Port Elizabeth had elected the DA in 2016 through a shaky coalition, and power was then lost to the ANC in 2018. The coalition of corruption was later halted by the courts, and the DA retook power, only to lose it during the 2021 municipal elections. It was this new ANC government that changed the name of the city to Gqeberha, clearly not having their priorities intact. Now, the ANC in this province is notoriously corrupt and incompetent. $150 million had been lost to corruption in a 3-year period from 2012 to 2015. For instance, it was reported in 2014 that there was not a single registered professional engineer in the Department of Water Services, which was unheard of in a city this size. It gets worse when you look at the Port Elizabeth Metro line. Buses bought in 2010 were still standing idle in the municipal workshops, despite $150 million in investment. Even after 5 years, the bus lanes were empty and impeding traffic, a daily reminder of the decay. The story is the same with the Metro Police Force, which was unnecessarily delayed by many years. The municipal police chief was even scamming sick notes and not showing up to work, despite a violent gang war which saw one gang leader shot 31 times. So we decided to go and speak to the director of water distribution.
Okay, day zero, obviously, in my opinion, is where the city is going to run out of water. But I think in our situation, we've got quite a number of systems that supply the metro with water. And currently what we are experiencing is that the western dams in the city are going to run dry, and we envisage that some of the areas that gets dedicated supply from those dams are going to suffer, no water or water disruptions.
Our business is connected to the church, so the church has water tanks. Obviously that's a blessing, but it's not like a long-term solution.
And then in terms of saving water or conserving water, have you guys done anything differently to try and conserve water?
It's very difficult with the coffee. Obviously a lot of water goes into our coffee machine, the steaming, and obviously the water itself. So you can't really limit the machine itself. Just try to be particular, not make mistakes, because obviously mistakes waste the water. But the only other real water usage we use is washing up. So we've made smaller basins that we can use. So we have a big basin in the back that we just put a smaller one in it, so it doesn't fill up too much. And not constantly washing, just as we need we wash. And we try to do like a bulk washing of all our cups and everything.
Another example of government incompetence would be the Walmer golf course fiasco. The municipality had been looking for land to build low-income housing and concluded that the local golf course was the most suitable and cost-effective site. The land, which used to belong to the council, was available for less than $100,000. Yet, the municipality instead bought an adjacent, privately owned plot for $3 million, which was also about $1 million more than its listed value.
To an extent that we have now begun to prepare what we call an emergency continuity plan, where we are actually putting up or installing what we call collection points on live reticulation system, on certain reticulation system that we're going to remain live, and we will urge then residents to collect water. But I think it's important for me to emphasize that it's only 40% of the city that's going to be on so-called day zero, because the majority of the city gets its water from another system, which is Gqeberha system, which will provide, almost like, the majority of the city with water.
Places such as public pools and restrooms have been placed under lock and key. The water has been shut off and taps even removed. Signs stating to use hand sanitizers because of no more water in the taps have been put up, and public showers at the beach have also been removed.
And if day zero is to hit, is there any plan behind it? Or
Interesting question. I think living in PE my whole life, for the last couple of years, it's been like water crisis. So unfortunately, after a while, you become, I don't know if numb is the right word, so it's almost like you get so used to it. So it's like day zero feels far away. So even this conversation is a good wake-up call again.
Even though residents of PE have been urged to reduce their water usage, we still found car guards washing vehicles and continuing as normal. But some of them do use seawater to wash the cars at the beaches.
how has the water crisis affected you guys?
What I can say is the water crisis is affecting all over here in PE, just because some places now they no longer have water at all. Here, where I am here in Woma, we haven't had any issue yet. We're still using our tap water since this started.
How can the ANC government get water infrastructure right when they can't even build houses for the poor? The ANC council gave a massive contract to the mistress who had no construction experience, and the houses were rushed with no electricity, sewage, or water connections. They even started to crumble mere months later and were built in flood zones. Over 500 houses that the metro paid for did not even exist. It got so bad that during the run-up to the 2016 elections, the ANC couldn't even persuade its donors to donate funds, knowing that the money would just be stolen. In the end, the ANC raised a measly sum, and much of it was in fact still stolen.
Or what is the common point that you're getting when people are saying that you're at fault, or it's the system that's at fault?
Yeah, two things which I need to mention is that obviously the city has been experiencing drought for the past 7 years. We last had our dams full in November 2015. That's the last time our dams are full. We have been receiving less than average rainfall on an annual basis for the past couple of years. And there is, a drought phenomenon, which is a natural phenomenon. Obviously, we are on a year-on-year basis having less and less rainfall to fill up our dams. So that's one point. The second point is that, as I have said, any water authority, as part of its maintenance regime, you fix leaks because pipes get older on a day-to-day basis. On average, we've got plus or minus 1,500 pipes that are 50 years and old. And as a result, they are vulnerable to leaks. And I think as the duty of any municipality or water authority, we have to fix those pipes on a day-to-day basis.
And have you changed the way that you look at water and use water?
Yes, I think what we just need to do right now, what we're planning to do and what we have started doing, we're using tank waters.
Okay.
Yes, just for backup. And we're trying not to use tap water that much. I mean, we're using it necessarily if we need to use it. Yeah.
And in your opinion, who would you say is at fault? Do you think it's a governmental issue, or do you just think it's a water shortage, or what sort of thing?
From my opinion, I think it's the wastage. Sometimes you find busted pipes and it takes time that to be fixed. So I think those things needs to be looked at. If there's a problem with the pipes, the government needs to make a plan quickly, and also the community needs to save water. Let's try to save water. Let's not just use water for something which is not really necessary.
And would you say that the government has made an attempt to help people? Water stations and so on, that sort of thing?
Yes, the government have started putting water stations in different places so that people can be able to get water. Right now, they're saying the dams are very low, so they need to try to save water for the meantime. And I'm not really quite sure how long that is going to take, but we just need to save water.
And you yourself, are you guys big buyers of water? Do you buy a lot of water, or is it all just tap water that you try?
Yes, we buy water. We also use tank water, and it gets purified. And the only thing that we use water for mostly in this coffee shop is just the coffee machine.
And I think that's part of what I do. What is important is then your reaction time and turnaround time in dealing with leaks. Mostly on leaks that are, best, if I put it that way, that inconvenience communities, we have got a turnaround time of at least 24 hours. However, we have got smaller leaks, which we have been betting for the past couple of months, where we could be between 5 to 10 days. And obviously now, there's been quite a lot of intervention and resources thrown to reduce that to at least 48 hours. Obviously, people can point fingers, but I think at this point in time, the attitude which I have is to say that we need to put hands on the deck and ensure that we actually reduce consumption. Finger pointing at this point in time is going to polarize the society, and we are not going to be able to get work done. So I think that's the attitude which I have got.